And Senator, I want to ask you about whether you think it's the greatest economy ever or the greatest everything of ever. But first, just because we have this news and it involves two of your colleagues, Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, and others, your reaction to, A, the president's obvious vendetta to try to prosecute members of Congress for a video they put out, and their failure to secure even an indictment before a D.C. grand jury?
Well, look, Chris, I think the American people understand with what's going on in Minneapolis, Trump's attacks on the media, the university. He's going after political opponents through criminal actions, that we are moving into an authoritarian society. And I'm very glad that the courts ruled what they did. Obviously, members of the Senate, the American people have a right to say what they want to say without being prosecuted by the Trump administration. In terms of, I got to tell you though, I seen that tape you just rolled. You wonder whether Trump is completely crazy and delusional or just a pathological liar. But the idea that anybody would believe that this is a great economy when 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, when the cost of the health care is going up, people can't afford housing, people can't afford their basic groceries, childcare system is dysfunctional, people can't afford to go to college. And if this is the greatest economy in the history of the world, God help us.
Well, I want to show you these two charts because I think it is quite good for some of the people that he hangs out with. This is corporate profits on the left. You see that line going up. That's a percentage of the gross domestic income. It's at an all-time high. And on the right, you see labor compensation, basically wages, which is at an all-time low. There's a sliding scale between those two, and it just seems like one of the things we've seen it as a longer-term trend, but it has really rocketed up, is that the money really is flowing to the top pretty well. Like the stock market, corporate profits, all that stuff is doing really bang up right now, and people hate this economy because it's not getting to them.
Well, Chris, as I understand it, the billionaire class has seen, since Trump's second term began, an increase in their wealth by over $1 trillion. Elon Musk himself is moving closer and closer to being a trillionaire. So the the billionaires who sat behind Trump at his inauguration, yeah, the economy is the best ever for them. But for the average working person, not quite the case.
And I know that one thing that I've been hearing a lot from Trump's people, they've been, very bullish on AI. A big reason, I think, that we saw all those tech oligarchs there in the White House, and we saw Sam Altman there, I think, on day 2 of the administration, is they don't want any regulation of AI. They want to, there's a sort of simpatico relationship. And one of the things you hear from all sorts of folks is, yeah, this is going to replace a ton of jobs. It's probably going to make profits and efficiency go up and the job market get worse. And we're just all going to have to kind of take that. That's what's coming down the pike.
Well, here's what I think, Chris, and it's the reason why I'm going to introduce legislation for a moratorium on data centers. And data centers are the infrastructure for AI. I think we have not a clue. We are totally unprepared for what is coming. And what is coming, I think, as you've just indicated, it is not just robots. Bezos at Amazon talking about replacing 400,000 workers, and other companies doing similar things. It is impacting entry-level jobs for college graduates. There is no profession out there that is not going to be hit. So I think you're going to see massive job loss. And I think also what you are seeing now is literally a cognitive decline among young people in this country. Their attention spans are worse, significantly worse. I worry very much what used to be science fiction, that the computers will take over. There is now a legitimate fear that artificial general intelligence will not only become smarter than human beings, they'll be able to communicate with each other independent of humanity and the implications of that. Bottom line is, I'm not a Luddite. And we have got to make sure, though, that AI and robotics work for working people, not just to make these billionaires even richer. A handful of billionaires, it's Musk and Bezos and Zuckerberg and Altman and Ellison and some others. The richest people in the world are pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into AI and robotics. Do you think they're worried about the implications of that for working people, the middle class? I don't think so. I think we got to take a deep breath. We got to slow this thing down. We got to work on international treaties with China and other countries. But I think people have not a clue about what is coming down the pike with terms of AI.
Final question for you. We've been in this economy where people have been very concerned about affordability. Trump has said there's no affordability problem. I brought prices down, which is not true. But one of the other things we're starting to see is that the labor market is clearly getting worse. And you've got jobs numbers coming out tomorrow, and very clearly they're trying to get out ahead of bad job numbers and revisions. Are you hearing from people that people are more and more worried about just their ability to find a job and to hold a job? We had very low unemployment, but you can kind of feel those storm clouds gathering, or a lot of people say they can.
I think that's right. And I think I'm hearing that from younger college graduates who would normally get decent entry-level jobs, move up the ladder. They're having a hard time. And I tell you, Chris, I've talked to a lot of working-class audiences. People are very worried about the implication of robotics for their jobs in factories and in warehouses.
Senator Sanders, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate it.